2.
Hello everyone and welcome to today's workout, 25-minute full body with absolutely no equipment. Enjoy! Hello everyone, so then welcome here to our workout and welcome to our channel where we do weekly exercises with minimal to no equipment. If you like what we do here, then please subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. And then I introduce my dad, who will be showing today the little bit more advanced variations of each exercise. Spontaneous high five. So this means I will be showing the more easy variation of each exercise, the more moderate variation, and also if you want to go more moderate, you will need a chair. But this is all that we are going to need today, otherwise just your body weight. And so go get a chair and then let's go for a workout. Okay, so let's go for a warm-up and we start walking on the spot, and you want to just warm up the hips by bringing the knees up all the way as much as you can while keeping your upper body long and straight. You can do you can use different variations here. You can either just keep lifting the knees, or you can start running on the spot, landing really softly, making sure the knees point all the way to the front and making sure your arms go front and back opposite. So you want to have your left knee up, right arm is going to the front, and right leg up, left arm is going to the front, or you just start moving your arms up and down in order to have a nice mobilization for the upper body. And then it's done and we go for the next movement, which is basically a long step forward. So you stand at the end of your mat and you just take a long step to the front, your back heel is coming up, your upper body stays long and straight, and you step forward and shift your weight to the front leg. You can also just take the feet right and left to the side and bend your knee each time you come forward. So shifting to the front and either in a straight line or a little bit outside, come forward and come with the opposite hand to the front. I have my fingers open here to just give them a little break from all the typing on the phone and on the computer. My upper body stays straight, and then I step right and left here outside, or I could just stay straight, the back leg is straight, the back heel is pushing down to the ground. Keep moving a little bit more, and then we are on for our next movement. Our next movement is similar to the movement we had before, only this time we are standing at the front of the mat. We are stepping backwards, the back leg comes straight into the ground, the heel touches the ground, and the arms open either right and left or up and down. The best way is, in my opinion, to go with the right foot, you stretch the arms outside, and with the left foot you come with your arms all the way up above your head. Then you have both movements in there, you are warming up the whole body, your shoulders get some nice movement backwards, so it kind of removes them from their position in front and in where we always keep our shoulders, and at the same time you are warming up the hips, you're warming up the legs. Then next movement is just a hinging forward. So you stand with your feet hip wide outside, and then you just kind of unblock your knees. So you don't want to have your knees too much bent. You just make sure that they are not blocked and straight, and then you come with a straight upper body to the front, lean all the way forward, and then come back and lean all the way to the front till you feel the pulling in the back in your hamstrings. You want to make sure that your back is really absolutely straight and that the movement is coming from your hips by pushing back, and then the upper body coming front again. And you go only as much down as you can feel that your back is supporting you and staying straight here. So the moment you feel your spine is bending, you immediately stop the movement and come back and up. And as I said, you want to feel the pulling in the hamstrings in the back. And then we are up for our next movement, which is moving and mobilizing the ankles. So you stand in the center, and then you just start lifting your heels right and left. And then I turn into running on the spot. So I make sure my arms go front and back and not the elbows are bending and stretching. So I have a 90-degree bending in my elbows. And then I make small steps on the spot, landing on my toes. Make sure my knee points to the front and my arms come opposite side, front and back. You can play with the speed here. You can either go very slow or you can start going a little bit faster and just landing softly, making sure the arms move with you. And we move on. So now we are just kicking our heels back and up. So take your feet more than hip wide outside and then kick your heels back and up. Now make sure when you kick your heels back and up that you're not leaning your upper body sideways. So you still want to keep your upper body straight. Your upper body is shifting right and left, yes, but it is not leaning sideways, so your upper body stays straight. You can go with the hands opposite or just keep your hands on your hip as you want. Important is that your heels come back and up and your knee points to the floor and is not rotating all the way outside. And you can also play with the speed here, so you can go very fast, you can go a little bit slower, but make sure your upper body stays straight. And then we go for our last movement here of the warm-up. We just go into an inchworm, so we stand at the back of our mat and you lift your hands up above your head, you walk all the way to the front, come into a high plank, then drop your hip to the ground, come back and up, and then go again, hands come all the way up last time and walk forward, hip drops and then hip comes back and up, keep your shoulders away from your ears, walk back, and then that's it. We are done with our warm-up. We go now for our circuit, and here we always have a little demonstration of each movement. You can pick your variation, and then we start immediately with the exercise. So our first movement is going to be the clamshell. So either you lie on your side and you lift your leg up and down, or you are on your fours. With both variations, make sure that you are not rotating your hip back or that you are losing your straight position when you are on your fours. So going now, you start your 45-second exercise. We are going to do each movement for 45 seconds, then we are moving on to the next. We have altogether 10 exercises, and then we are going to repeat the circle from the beginning. In the first circuit, you have to listen a little bit to my talking, and then in the second movement, we will keep the talking to a minimum, and you can focus on your exercises. So make sure here the hip stays in front and you are really just bringing the knee up without rotating your spine. So when you are on your fours, you want to keep your weight on the, let's say, right hand when your right leg is up. And when you are lying on your side, you want to make sure that the upper hip is always pointing to the ceiling. We have our last 5 seconds, and then we move on to the next movement, which is a single leg bridge variation. Don't worry that we have not done the other leg yet. We come to it at the end. As when we repeat the circle, we come back to it. Our next exercise is going to be bridges. We have different variations for the bridge. I'm going to show again the more easy variation. My dad, like I said, the more difficult variation. So you take one leg to your chest, you hold it with your hands, and you have the other foot on the ground. If you want to make things a little, you keep pulling your knee to your chest all the time. If you want to make things a little bit more difficult, you keep stretching your hands up to the ceiling. But make sure the hip stays really close to your knee stays really close to the chest. So let's go. Pick your variation, either hands up or hands down. Pull your knee to your chest as much as you can, and then start lifting your hip up and down. If you want, again, a little bit more work, then you do not drop the hip on the ground in between. You just keep it up, always like 2 centimeters above the ground, and keep pulling your knee in towards your hip and really push the hip all the way up. When you think the hip is all the way up, try to go like 1 or 2 centimeters more, because usually there is more to go. And also here, we are going to do the other side then afterwards at the end. When we are done with this movement or with this whole round of exercises, we are coming to the other side then. Movement number 3 coming up. We are having planks and downward dogs or pike variations. This is the first movement where, if you want to do it more on the easy side, where you are going to need the chair. So have your chair standing in front of you or go all the way down on the ground. you put your hands on your chair or down onto the floor. Then you go back into what would be a downward dog from the yoga. And then you walk. No, you don't walk back. You stay there and you just keep coming up with your hip up and down. When you come down into a plank, make sure you are really straight. 3, 2, 1. And then let's go for 45 seconds of exercise. So either on the chair or on the floor, you push your hip back, up and down. When you are down on the floor, you have a little bit more work for your core muscles and your shoulders. When you are up on the chair, it has the advantage that you do not have to come up from the ground, but you will of course not get as much work on the core muscles. But always, as always, the quality is much more important than the quantity. So it's better to do the movement a little bit elevated and make sure the hip and the upper body come straight when you go forward, than doing it on the ground and your back is sagging to the front all the way. So and we have 5 more seconds and then we are done with this one, and we can move on to our next movement, which is Superman's or Supergirl's. So Superman is always lying on your stomach. So you can lie on your stomach here. You can either put something like softer under your hip, or you are just hardcore and you just lie on the floor like that. And then either you just come from here up with your upper body and lift your legs up off the ground, hold for like 3-4 seconds and then go down, or you start doing arm movements. So we have chosen here the movement backwards and up, mainly because there is no space to the front, but you can also do some kind of swimming movement. Pick your variation and let's go. So lie on your stomach. This is the same in both variations. And then either you come with your upper body only up and down, or you start doing a movement with your hands. So going with the hands up and down, or going with your feet up and down. Try to keep your feet as much off the ground as possible. And really try to keep the thighs up so that you engage all the muscles of your back. And we have a little bit longer to go. And then we are done. So go all in, lift your upper body up, lift your legs up, hold for 3 seconds, then come back and down. And here shift your hands, reach with your hands back towards your knees if you are going for the more difficult variation. And then this one is done as well. We have our 15-second break, and then we move on to our next movement. The next one is the Super G. So you want to be standing, imagining that you are going down a really steep mountain and you are about to win this race. So you stand with your feet hip wide outside. Then you go into a powerful stance that allows you to drive down a mountain with your skis. And either you just move your arms up and down or bend your hips slowly, or you go really, as my dad is demonstrating here, all the way down and really work with your arms and go. And you really kind of resist this motion that your upper body wants to come more forward and down, but you are in control. Your hip pushes back and your upper body is coming front, and your arms really pull you down, or your arms are really being pulled down as much as you can. You try to keep this speed all the way till the end, but you make sure that your knees are always pointing to the front. So you don't want your knees to kind of fade out or come in and lean on one another. And your hands are straight and open, and your arms go up and down, up and down. And then we take a break and 15 very well deserved seconds before we move on for the lunge variations, which means we are going to need our chair if you want to do the movements on the a bit more easy. Either grab your chair or stand at the end of the mat. We are showing you the movement again. Or either hold on to the chair, just step with your foot back and come up and down. Or stand on the mat, have space in front and behind you, and step to the front and to the back. Here with these movements, you want to make sure that your upper body stays really long and straight and you are not leaning forward. And what I forgot to say before, during the demonstration, we are changing legs. So you go either have one leg in the back, go 2 times up, 2 times down, and then change sides, or you keep holding on to the chair or do it without the chair and just go front, back, feet together, front, back, feet together. The only thing that does not change is your upper body stays really long and really straight as you keep going front and back and you switch your legs. So either I just go up and down while holding the chair, or I step front and back while holding the chair. This is completely up to you. And then we have again the last 5 seconds, and then we are going to repeat this movement when we go for the second round of this circuit. Next movement is on the floor or also on the chair. Again, the chair is a little bit more easy because you don't have to go all the way down and you do not have as much pressure on your wrists. You want to basically present your belly to the sky or ceiling. So either take the chair and come onto your elbows, or go all the way down on the ground and come on your hands. And then you want to lift your hip all the way up. So really, this exercise is called a chair movement. So really, a table movement, excuse me. So really make sure that you are in a flat table. Don't let your hip kind of dangle somewhere 5 centimeters below the surface. Really come all the way up, become a flat surface, stay for like 1 or 2 seconds, and then move on, coming again back and down. And then push the hip again up, pushing your feet into the ground as much as you can, coming with your hip high up, and then coming back and down again. Try to keep your shoulders back and away from you. Your neck is long, and you keep going up and down for a little bit longer. Hold on top for like 2 seconds and push your elbows also into the chair. And then we are done with this one as well. And we have a very well-deserved break until we go for our plank variations, where we also need the chair if you want to stay a little bit elevated. So for the planks, we want to come onto our elbows, either on the chair or on the floor, and then have the rest of the back or the rest of the body in a straight line. So when you are then starting to shift your hip front and back, make sure that the hip is not going up and down, but really stay straight in one line with the rest of your body. 3, 2, 1, and then go. So from here, you shift front and back and keep your hip and your upper body in one long straight line. On the chair, this might feel a little bit strange because you don't have so much movement left, because you're a little bit more elevated, but it really helps to kind of get a hang of the movement. If you start getting tired, please do not try to not come down from the plank, but just stay in the plank. As you are shifting front and back on the ground, you want to make sure that the hip is not too much coming up and down. Really imagine you want to bang your head against a door. So, and your whole body is supposed to help you with this. So now everyone is reading handstand and is starting to panic. Do not panic, don't worry. We are not going to do handstand. We are just going to kind of work our arms a little bit in a position that could eventually become a handstand at some point. So you want to put your hands either on the chair, although my chair here is a little bit too high, so it didn't really work. So I'm going then all the way down on the ground. And then you want to bring as much weight as possible onto your hands, push your hip all the way back and up, and just try to make your feet light. You can see I'm just staying here. My dad is lifting the feet up and down sideways. So let's go. So either you just put your hands onto the ground and could bring as much weight as you can towards your hands, or you even lift your legs. When you lift your legs, make sure your legs are long and straight, and you are really shifting that weight towards your hands, and make sure your shoulders stay away from your ears, so that you really keep working your back here. Pull your belly button in towards your spine. Push your hip all the way up to the ceiling as much as you can, and maybe start a little bit of walking here just to make the whole thing a bit more interesting. And then we are here at our last movement. We are done with this one, and we come to our last movement, which is a combination of running and boxing. So you want to start running on the spot and then jab one time right, one time left, and then run on the spot again and jab 1 time right, 1 time left. So we start sprinting as much as you can, and then your arms go right and left. I kind of move my arms only right and left while my dad is really trying to hit someone very, very hard. So this is your movement. 3, 2, 1, and then go. So start running and then stop and go jab, and then running, stop and jab. So the fun here is also in between, also between these shifts of the movement. So you want to one time be super fast and run, then stop dead in your track and go immediately with the arms. So try to really kind of work this, kind of emphasize on this running, stopping, arms, running, stopping, arms. So there is a clear distinction between these movements that you really have to stop all the time, because this is very, very hard work for your muscles. And keep running a last time and stop and jab, and then we are done with this movement as well. Yes, and we are done with our first round of exercises. Very well done. We are off for one more round. The same stuff. We start all the way in the beginning with the leg variations. So here, this is the one where you are either lying on your side or you are on your fours, and you use the opposite side. So most probably the left leg. So 3, 2, 1, and go. Remember to keep your upper body all the way straight and your hip all the way in the front. Well done, 1 down, 9 to go. Next one is the one where you are lying on your back, and then you want to pull the opposite leg now towards your chest and come with your hands all the way up and all the way down. And of course, if you want to make it more difficult, you keep pulling your knee towards your chest and stretch your hands up and up towards the ceiling. Here, this is our first movement where we could use a chair if you want to make the movement a little bit easier. You want to be in a plank and then push from there with your hip back and up so that you come into like a V shape or into a downward dog from the yoga. Or you put your hands, your elbows onto the chair and then go from there with your hip all the way up. And Supergirls and Supermans united. Lie on your stomach and try to lift your hands sideways up and bring your thighs off the floor. Hold for 3 seconds and come down, or hold the entire 45 seconds, of course, and go with your hands right and left down towards your feet. The Super G is the one where you are standing with your feet hip wide outside and then your arms go forcefully right and left down. You either come out of the squatting position each time and really drive your hip back, or you stay in the semi-squat and just let your arms work up and down, front and back. And another leg exercise is coming up. So for this one, you can either use your chair or not. We are going to alternate stepping back and down into a lunge and then taking the leg front and down into a lunge and then switch to the other side. You can hold on to the chair if you wish. This makes the whole thing a bit more easy. Make sure your upper body stays straight. And then break before we go on with movement number 7, the table movement. So here you can again use the chair. You want to stand with your back to the chair, put your arms onto the chair, and then drive your hips all the way front and up. Or you go down onto the ground and come on your hands and feet and push your hip all the way up from there. And another core muscle exercise. So here we can use the chair again, or you go down on the floor onto your elbows and you just try to keep your hip and your upper body one long straight line, and then just start to shift front and shift back. Remember not to come with the hip up as you shift front and back. And then we go off to the dreaded handstand. So here you want to be on the floor with your hands and then push your hip all the way up like for a downward dog, but you kind of bring your hip more up. Try to get as much weight as possible onto your hands. Either stay there or start bringing your hip all the way back and up. Your legs all the way back and up, of course. And then here we are for our last movement in this circuit, in these 2 rounds of circuits. We want to just start running as quickly as possible, or I want you to run as quickly as possible, and then jab with your hands right and left outside. Run, 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 jab, jab, run, 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 jab, jab, and go. That's another week of workout done. Spontaneous high five with your workout partner.
Yeah, so if you like what we are doing here at the channel, so then like, comment, subscribe please.
Yes, and then we will see you next week for another round of workout where we have minimal to no equipment. Bye bye.
Bye bye.